in this world, if you want a successful marriage, go for a woman who you can have a conversation with. A woman who would understand you financially, who would understand you socially, and in a context which you are living in. Problem has always been that the highly educated the woman is, and I'm talking because of, we've looked at the economic survey, which tells us about which areas Kenyans are moving and people are getting married to. Finance is key. Number two, education. The moment you get married to a woman who is highly educated, you must have an agreement that she will conform to a certain ideology which you want. And it's not easy. So, traditionally, men have preferred to marry women who are not highly educated or a step lower than them, because it is easier, because when a woman earns more money than you, has better education than you, and women are wired differently also. They are wired to look at something which a bit higher. They are wired to look at something which they can look up to. So if you are in that space, you must be very serious and understand that it will be a problem. For me, I advise people, if you're a young man, there are careers which you should marry in. A teacher, for example, fantastic. Yes.
Because she'll never get a raise.
Who should we avoid? Tell me those. Who should we avoid? Who should we avoid now?
The people who are a teacher, a nurse, fantastic. And you can see their marriages last longer.
Ah.
But if you go to the other field,
Which one?
a salesman, saleswoman,
Lawyers?
lawyers, my friend.
Well, yeah, I have a very interesting take on this, in the sense that when it comes to now the educated woman, and now you being a man, they say you're not matching her education. You did mention something about now, yes, women needs to look up to you in a certain aspect in order for you to see any relevance of you in her life.
Yes.
That's a fact. Now the other thing is this: when it comes to now education, you can be also educated in a lot of foolishness. And here's what I mean: your education does not make your intelligence valid. Even when you actually even say that a lot of educated fools are out here, yes, there's a lot of educated fools. But now you also be able to now articulate yourself even as a man, even if you're not as educated as her, the normal traditional 844, you've gone through the sequence of things, you can actually know you understand the education of life in itself. She can now look at you in a different aspect, look at you and say, this guy knows his business. I even like the way he actually executes his way and maneuvers his way when it comes to even finances and other things. Have that solid. So that now you're not scared to approach that lawyer and say, hi, how are you? Let me take you for a cup of tea or in this kind of place and actually have a seat. And let's have a discussion about how we can actually move and take steps forward in life. There's that aspect of things even when it comes to education. It does not always mean that you sit down there discussing degrees here with your wife all the time. Nah. Other times even you're discussing common things, small things. Even could be like, okay, where are we going to take the, which mechanic do we trust more? Small things like that, you know this. Even having the knowledge of that just means that you actually now will help you now validify yourself in her life. That can actually be a key thing.
I think the most important thing here, I just want to touch on that, is that, for example, if I'm married to somebody that, let's say, sweeping the floors, yeah? If that person is comfortable in his own skin and he believes his cause and he's a trustworthy, good human being, and he respects himself. It's always got to start with that. He respects himself, is somebody that I could respect. That is all that matters in life.
Yeah,
at the end of the day. Yeah?
Right.
You want to be waking up next to that person and saying, I like this, I'm happy.
What do you think?
What do you think?
I agree with you because sadly, I realized the first time the producer told me about this topic, naturally I gravitated towards the financial aspect. Usually in our setting, when we think someone is more educated, we assume they make more money. But I like that angle of comfort because I know people who've had several degrees, but then they choose to go become a real housewife. Like a real one, not you. Like
a fake one? Thanks.
No, like a homemaker. Like a
Yes.
homemaker.
Yes.
I know very educated people. I know men who allow their wives to go to work and sit at home and work on their own projects, do crafting stuff, fixed cars, vintage cars. I think it all comes down to what you define as education, because education, like you said, is self-education. I've met several educated idiots. Just because I have paperwork, mimi siwezi date mtu hana. By the way, I'm speaking as the only unmarried person on this panel.
I'm not married. You think I'm married?
Oh.
Don't give me that kind of branding. That's a jail cell.
Nice.
He's the jailed one.
Today, I actually want to tell the girls, sometimes we have to accept we can't have it all. And I know the viewers are thinking, Catherine, you're an accomplished woman. How can you be saying that? I think it's important to understand that very many women today are having to make decisions on whether it's family or work. And a lot of them, some of them are choosing to be full-time mothers. So we are just going to be airbrushing things. And if men are feeling left out, I think it's time for them to begin to ask, beyond providing for the family, what else am I bringing on the table?
And you can see Dr. C has just said that broke men.
Yes.